like our viewers to know more about you and what you offer as a facilitator and trainer. I noticed you recently did a presentation boot camp. You ran this over 6 weeks. What's the outcome of this course?
It's been so interesting, Michelle. So 3 years ago, I actually launched this specific program, and the way that it was usually done is I would go into a company and it would usually be a sales and marketing team. For instance, one of the clients had fired Prime Mall, so they used to actually make use of an advertising agency to do all of their internal advertising. And suddenly they had to go and sell all of the main shopping malls' internal advertising, so like virtual billboards, different things like that. And they had to have a very quick conversion. So they had to go and do these group presentations at advertising agencies. And where people used to go through the middleman, they had to build reputation, have the correct message so that they could start taking in the orders themselves, So it was really about education. So that's where this course started, building confidence, putting your message together, all of that. But then when lockdown actually hit, I saw a huge opportunity and I realized where most salespeople, because, I did sales for more than 15 years myself, selling to advertising agencies and business schools and universities. When you're doing a consultative sale, at a stage, you need to present something. But what I realized is we would always jump in a car and drive to the ad agency. It would be very like a impromptu kind of thing. You would just go, you would have certain dates that you would be allowed to go and see the ad agency. Sometimes it would be set appointments, but sometimes it wasn't. I realized there's a huge difference versus us sitting across a desk, having a cup of coffee or at a, in a boardroom versus now people have to actually do a consultative sale over a screen when no one was actually able to have a conversation. So the conversation, the entire course shifted a little bit, where it was, how do you do now virtual sales? And I had a lot of business owners say to me, they realized that they almost needed a bit of attraction marketing. So, that was like through videos, developing content. So, so the whole aim of the course changed around from face-to-face presenting to how do you now run a webinar? How do you make a video for online? How do you create content for your Instagram and YouTube, So so you were asking about the outcomes. It's been so interesting. So one of the guys is literally a secondhand car salesperson. And in the research and stats about trust, it actually shows that people trust salespeople very little, but a secondhand car salesperson, they don't trust at all. So this poor guy, he was selling cars in South Africa and would want to do deliveries, from his base in Vereniging in, for instance, Cape Town, Port Elizabeth, all across the country. But how do you now build trust with a person if they can't ever see you? They might think it's a scam, So he started building his personal brand and doing little videos, doing videos of the cars, actually speaking about the car industry. So he has more than 25 years car sales experience. And suddenly his leads started picking up and his conversions because people could see this is a real person, so it's very strange. I think in some ways on the course, I had a wide variety. I had people from the leadership industry to events to car salesperson to even a guy running international webinars. So core outcomes, they were more confident, they were more slick, and they could have more engagement with the person on the other side, but they could also have a really clear structure on the back end on how are they going to get the outcomes that they want. Because I don't know if you've noticed the amount of effort you need to put in for virtual training is 50 times more, than face-to-face.
It is. I find it frustrating that, especially if you're presenting, that you're not able to see the people. And I like to see the people. You want to see their facial expressions. You get an idea of what they're taking in, what they're struggling with.
I figured out a little hack.
It's a nice new challenge for us in this age.
I figured out a little hack there. We're talking about the faces. I found
Yes.
that if you use multiple screens and you start shifting
Yes.
things around and you actually put the faces in
Uh-huh.
front of you as a facilitator,
Yes.
it helps. Because, like, for instance, now I need to actually look at the camera, which is over here. But when I keep on doing this,
Yes.
looking at the face over there, and
Yeah,
then
me too.
and then
Me
I look
too.
a little bit weird, you know.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
know.
a
I know. I was doing exactly the same, and I had to remind myself, look at the camera. But Yoko, whilst you were talking, you mentioned that you were in the sales game for 15 years. Why did you break away from that and go into training?
I felt I never felt that I was fulfilling my purpose, and
Okay.
at a stage we were actually yesterday I was looking at a LinkedIn post where a person said the biggest disaster that you can say to someone is say follow your passion. You should rather
Yes.
follow your purpose, and purpose is
Yes.
something that you can make a difference in the world. And I felt that I was given a core set of talents, but just being in sales I didn't feel like I was actually using those talents, and I felt that I wanted to make a bigger impact on the world. So looking at
Yes.
my talents, I'd done the whole 10,000 hours of doing Toastmasters for more than 10 years. I'd had a lot of international training and mentorship. So I could easily tap into that to offer this Power of Persuasion presentation skills course. So for many years, I had just developed myself to be an excellent presenter and speaker because I just wanted to get onto large stages. That was my mission. And then I realized, hang
Yeah.
on,
Yes.
don't be selfish. There's other people that can benefit
Yeah.
from this that you've learned
Yeah.
all of these years, you know. So that was the one thing. And
Exactly.
at the beginning, it was quite tough, Michelle. At the beginning, I was like, no, these are my secrets. These are my gems. Why would I want to share it?
Yes.
It took me so much investment to get here. But then I actually just realized
Yes.
I love Malcolm Gladwell. I don't know if you read Outliers, and speaks about the 10,000 hours of becoming an expert. And I realized by myself, the fact that I myself had invested in coaches,
Yeah.
mentors, training, for more than 10 years, my journey was made much shorter when I tapped into their knowledge and expertise. And I've actually seen transformation in people when they tap into my 10,000 hours.
Yes.
So they'll come in your training and
Exactly.
they'll very quickly learn the hacks, the shortcuts. And I'll share like the crazy stories of one of my favorites was where I was told 5 o'clock in the afternoon, they forgot to inform me that I was a speaker the next evening at an event. And I actually
Yes.
found out by accident, and how I had to incorporate all of my own confidence hacks that I train on right there and then.
Yes.
And I had to go and stand in the bathroom, do a pump pose. I had to do my visualizations. I was so stressed out. I quickly grabbed a piece of paper
Yes.
and just made sure I had, like prompt notes just for in
Yes.
case, because my slides didn't have all the information on it. And I was like,
Exactly.
what if I completely hit a blank? Which sometimes happens when
Mm-hmm.
you're on a large stage with too much pressure,
Yes.
lights, microphones. So I was like, I'm very vulnerable in my training. I actually share, these are the kind of things that happen, and that's why you need a backup
Mm-hmm.
plan. Sometimes
Yes.
technologies kind of fail you. I've had that in training
Yes.
sessions where the projectors completely stopped working, and I had to do a
Yeah.
full day training on a whiteboard. So what
Yeah.
are you going to do
Exactly.
online if your internet fails you? Do you have a backup plan? So all of
Yes.
those kinds of things is, I think people learn by also learning from our own mistakes as trainers. So
Yes.
for me, it's always been about the transformation and helping others get there quicker.
Yeah. You were talking about sharing and not wanting to share information. I had that same philosophy before I went out. I mean, many years ago, I was a Tupperware manager. And in order for my team to grow, I had to promote Tupperware managers. And I had to learn, you need to share with them what makes you successful. Otherwise, how do you expect them to be successful? The same with being a PA. Share what made you successful, because other people need to know this. And I say to your top PAs and companies these days that just because you've got to that position of working for the CEO, the chairman, doesn't make you the be all and end all of everything. You're in a position now to train other people who are working their way up to your position, not necessarily yours in particular, but how did you do it? They would like to know your story. And vulnerability, showing your vulnerability is so, so crucial, because it just changes the effect you have on the people that you train. And it's just lovely to see when you suddenly show your bad times, they can identify with that, because I believe out of every bad or difficult situation, there is a positive to come out of that. There is something you can learn and be able to make it work. I mean, after all these well-known people who've done so well for themselves, these millionaires, they didn't do it by just doing the right thing. They did a couple of wrong things, but they had to master it to get it back on track. So
I love what you're saying.
Yeah.
I love what you're saying. Can I just add something?
Yes, of course.
When I was still in the sales game, I was working at Entrepreneur magazine, and we had an incredible storyteller there. Nadine was our editor there, and she specifically interviewed, like you say, these top-end millionaires, billionaires, movers and shakers. But what she did differently, and I think that's really what made her story so successful, is she actually asked them about the hard times, about their failures, and how they overcame them. So people don't always associate through the successes and through the overnight success story, because it's never really an overnight success. It's actually the hero's journey, the ups and downs and the valleys and the lessons learned, and that's really something we do in our course, as well as storytelling. That's how people buy from you, through your stories.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this boot camp, you did it over 6 weeks. It seems like an awfully long time. Couldn't it be done in a day?
So face-to-face, we did it in a day, and it was so interesting. So one of the ladies on the course, she had actually attended the previous half day. So many times when I ran the course, I would either do 2 half days or a full day, when a company just wanted to get all of the content done. But now I added a lot of different content for virtual presenting. So what I realized is people cannot sit on a screen and concentrate for an entire day as you could in the classroom, where you could get them to sit and stand and communicate, and there's like little bits of gossiping happening, and you can bring a team build element into it. So I broke it into modules of an hour and a half each. But then I gave them a lot of homework, so they had to implement along the way. So we made use of a Slack channel. And what was incredible is the growth and transformation that actually took place, because they had small nugget sizes to work with. Every week they could implement something else, and they could actually sit with it a little bit, think about it a little bit. So one of the ladies, she said to me, she had huge mind shifts every single week after the session, plus with the implementation work they did. And what was crazy for me, Michele, is I found, so let's say you do a day course or 2 half days. By the end of it, the people are usually quite sad to leave. I don't know if you've seen that, when you're about to leave the training room, the people almost want to cry, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't think that was possible with the online group. And on the final day, one of the ladies was actually very sad. She actually had a few tears, because the people were actually forming so much trust, and they were on this journey together, and they could see the transformation and growth from week 1 to week 6. So for me, that was actually incredible to hold their hand and not to just chuck all the content down their throats, because it's actually too overwhelming. So I think learning and transformation takes place over time, and if you can chunk it in small, like they say, eat an elephant bite by bite, that's what we did.
Yes. Okay. And is it just salespeople who would benefit from this boot camp, or are there other people who could benefit from your power of persuasion presentations?
It's such a wide variety. I think leaders need to develop their voices more. I think as a leader, you need to be able to convey your message really well. So if you as a leader need to run staff meetings, if you need to chair any board meetings, if you need to address clients, this would be ideal for that.
Mm-hmm.
Salespeople would definitely benefit because they are the face of the business.
Yeah.
Specifically, marketing and PR teams would also find huge benefit because they are
Okay.
actually putting so much of the content together. I had a lady who runs her own social media business and PR business, and she said she developed so many content ideas just for
Yeah.
everything it was discussed. So besides
Mm-hmm.
just for video content, it actually allowed her to become so much more creative, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not just a face-to-face, when you're doing a face-to-face meeting or presentation, it can help you over the phone, it can help you for a webinar, wide variety of things. So
Okay.
anyone that
All right.
really needs to persuade a group of people. So in the past, I had people from all industries. When I started out this course, it was actually run as an alumni course at University of Pretoria.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of accountants come on it who said,
Okay.
as CAs, their job has shifted so much, where in the past, if we're looking at the fourth industrial revolution now, so many jobs are going to be replaced. If you're not going to tap into your leadership roles and become
Mm-hmm.
assertive, as you say, and develop a voice, do something that
Yeah.
computers can't do, you will lose out. So specifically,
Okay.
I've seen the moment a person embraces public speaking, the moment you can actually go and speak in front of the room, the moment you can actually persuade, the moment you can educate, that's where people
Yes.
see you as an expert. You know, so
Okay.
yeah, a wide variety of people that actually want to build their personal brand or their
Mm-hmm.
business, leaders, sales and marketing teams. I've even had engineers that
Mm-hmm.
you would probably say they're in the sales game, but they had to present a forklift accessory in
Yes.
Venice. And they only had one chance a year to convince their resellers to choose their brand. So sometimes your communication skills can make or break you and can have an impact
Okay.
on your market share.
Okay. So it's not necessarily groups of people from a particular company that can attend. Individuals can also attend your
Definitely,
session.
definitely.
Okay. And so I think I've heard one or two stories that you've mentioned that some people have got out of a training. What other success stories can you think of from your training? You know, from the people who've attended.
One of the ladies, her name is Lindiwe Marquez. She actually has a IT business and very well
Yes.
qualified lady. She has a master's and she came on my course and afterwards had quite a few presentation coaching sessions with me. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the sessions when she came to me was she had to attend a Absa Bank, so one of the major banks in South Africa, a procurement pitch. So they were
Mm-hmm.
inviting small business owners to have the opportunity to pitch their business and potentially become a supplier. And in that setup, we actually worked on various elevator pitches. And
Yeah.
so my advice would be there, if you're invited to go and do a pitch somewhere, the very first thing
Mm-hmm.
you need to do is find out the format. So we spend, I think, an hour and a half putting various pitches together for her, from 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes. And during the session, I then said to her, please just check with your contact. How is this event going to happen? You know, are you going to sit
Yes.
across from someone and then you rotate every 30
Mm-hmm.
seconds? Are you going to stand up in front of the room? What is the format going to be? Because they called it speed networking or speed
Yes.
presenting. And so this is right at the end of the session. And then she says to me, he said to her, oh, they have 5 to 10 minutes to present over a microphone in front of the entire room. And my mouth dropped open. But because we had put various stories together, case studies, she calls it business stories, we could quickly go create an opening, a close, and throw in her 3 stories. And she had a beautiful pitch. So I contacted her the next day and I was like, how did it go? And she said, they've listed her as a supplier. People immediately came up to her, applauded her, hugged her, said it was the best presentation they've heard in their life. And she now does business with them. Another story that I have is I did coaching with a lady. She competed in the Pitch SA. So she's an actress. and her and her her and her business partner were pitching to win funding to make a film.
Yeah.
And it was all around, so not around their content, but the kind of work that I did with her and with other people was about the confidence that you have when you walk in there, because very often it's the person that sounds the most confident, that believes the most in their message. People fall in love with that. If you are not going to have good eye contact and body language, if you don't have a good structure, if you're not passionate about what you're saying, no one will buy into what you're saying. And especially if people are actually wanting to give you money for a project. So, so they won the bid, and they are making the film for South Africa. It's international investors, and that is so rewarding. And Michelle, that was for me where I felt, you know, great. If you've learned amazing presentation skills, confidence skills for yourself, it's amazing. But if you as a trainer or a coach can become a guide to help people actually win investment, get onto the procurement list of a major bank, if you can help them actually do better in sales, if you can help them be better leaders, care for their staff, have a great message like a lady that spoke at Sun City with an audience of 1,000 people, that is really rewarding for me. So as a trainer, it's actually becoming the guide, and you are the mentor and the coach, and your success actually lies in theirs. It's not about you anymore. And that's what's so nice for me.
Exactly. So you're good at doing this, well, one-on-one and now online training of this, being able to speak verbally. But if somebody wanted to put together a video message, how would they go about doing that?
So the first thing I would advise them to do is to figure out what is the real problem you're trying to solve for the client. So instead of just in your message focusing on the features and benefits of the product or service. So let's say, for instance, I had to do one about this course of mine. I will bore the person stiff if I go into details of it. An hour and a half, it's over 6 weeks, it's going to be over Zoom. That's all the features and benefits. That's really boring. The only thing they care about is, can they make an impact with a client over a screen? Can they grab someone's attention over a video message? How will their YouTube channel be received? How will people think of them and feel when they're actually attending their webinar? How will their reputation of their brand be when people actually hear them? So those are actually the things that they care about. And then you speak about that. So I would say start with what is the real need of the client? Is it an aspirational thing? Something that so I always say people get motivated by moving towards something or moving away from something. So do they want to have an amazing, impactful presentation, or did they in the past maybe really stumble over their words? Did they in the past maybe hit a blank? So that would be you don't want that to happen again. You know, so you either speak about the fire or the aspiration, and then you literally go into 2 to 3 points maximum, and then you have a close. So some of the ways in which you can do a video is these days, if you hold a cell phone up portrait side, you can easily do a video that you can upload on Instagram, Insta TV. There's an app called Story Cutter where you can cut that into 10-second pieces, so you could have short little Instagram stories. You can upload that same video to YouTube. You can upload that same video to Facebook. So there are so many ways. There's an app, one of the ladies that came in my course, she's now also doing a course on editing videos over Power Director. So I'll be sharing an event around that soon. So how do you then go, and if you wanted to add music, if you wanted to add titles or anything like that, you know, but specifically look at, is this message actually going to benefit the person on the other end, or am I just doing a self-promotional post? because people see through that very quickly. So you need to ask yourself, what's in it for me, as in for the audience, and how will it benefit them? So is there something they can learn? Is it something that they would want to share? Or are they just going to think, oh, this is just about you, I haven't benefited at all listening from this? So those are just some of my video tips.
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, they're very interesting video tips. Even I picked up one or two things there.
That's good.
So, so Yoke, it was lovely chatting to you. Tell me, where can the listeners get hold of you? Where can they find you?
On my website, www.y-connect.biz. I'm sure we'll put the links below our posts as well. And I'll also share, I've got a link tree, and I'll just share that in the links where you can have access to a lot of my various podcast interviews, blog articles. So people can literally book for this course on their own. I have a lady at the moment doing this course on her own, or they can book one-on-one coaching sessions specifically, or they can speak to me to actually put a quote together for a team of theirs to do a course in their time frame, you know, what works for them.
Good. Well, thank you so much for putting aside the time for this interview. It was lovely chatting to you and getting to know more about your courses that you do and lots of the ideas and tips that you shared with us. I think it's amazing, and I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from this. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.